I'm Tim Stevens, and this is the 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid. This is one of the most eagerly anticipated and important launches from Subaru in years. Subaru sells a ton of Foresters. They sold over 175,000 of the things last year, but in that ultra-competitive compact SUV segment, more and more buyers are looking for powertrains with electrified hybrid options. And Subaru hasn't had much to offer in that regard. But that changes here. The Forester Hybrid is finally coming to market soon, but we decided to get ahead of the pack. We came out here to California to get some early time behind the wheel to see how it drives. We're going to run you through all the details, then we'll hit the road and see if it's worth the wait. Compared to the regular Forester, which just launched last year, there's not really a lot of changes on the outside. Subaru did put a hybrid badge here in the door. There's another one out back too. There's also some custom wheel designs only available on the hybrid and a two-tone paint option too on some of the trims. But otherwise, this looks pretty much just like a normal Forester, and that was by design. Subaru didn't really want this to stand out as being significantly different than the normal car. To see the big changes, you gotta look deep down under the hood. There's a 2.5-liter flat 4 under there, which is connected to a CVT transmission that has not one, but two electric motors integrated in there, giving this that hybrid system that buyers definitely want. That gives you a little more power, 194 horsepower versus 180 in a standard Forester, so a little bit more get up and go than before. But perhaps most importantly, compared to earlier Subarus that had big battery packs in the back which cut into your cargo space, the Forester Hybrid still got a flat floor back there just like before. You've got 27.5 cubic feet of storage space. Fold down the second row seats, that expands to 69.1 cubic feet of space. But the bigger changes are really on the inside here. Inside, the new Forester Hybrid inherits the 11.6-inch vertically oriented touchscreen that the 2025 Forester brought to the table. This has been available on a lot of other Subarus, so it's good to see it finally appearing here in the Forester. But what's new is the new 12.3-inch virtual gauge cluster behind the steering wheel. That's a full LCD now, no real gauges, which means you can get the traditional dual gauge view if you want to, but you can also get a navigation display, you can see the eyesight display if you want to, and see a lot more information and metrics about the car than you could otherwise. If you're using wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, you can actually get the map view behind the steering wheel as well. That's it from the interior details and all the other changes. It's time to head down the mountain and see how this actually drives. As a hybrid, one of the most important metrics of this car is, of course, fuel economy, and it's substantially improved over the normal Forester. You're looking at 35 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway, or 35 mpg combined. That's up from 29 mpg combined in the normal Forester, so you're getting a good amount of extra efficiency out of this car. But it's worth pointing out that this is not a plug-in hybrid system. This is not the kind of thing that you're going to be able to plug it in overnight and then commute to work without burning any gasoline. This is a very small battery. It's the kind of thing to kind of get you started. You're not going to get more than maybe 50 or 100 feet in this thing normally before the engine comes on and basically gives you more power to drive along. And so in a car like that, in a traditional hybrid like that, the handoff between electric power and gasoline power is very important because the car is going to be constantly going back and forth between electric power and gasoline power. And a lot of hybrids can be kind of jerky or uncomfortable when that gasoline power kicks in. But I found the Forester actually to be quite smooth. It does a really nice job of easing from the electric power that you'll get from pulling away from a stoplight, that kind of thing, to the gasoline power, the extra power that really keeps the thing going. But that said, despite the fact that this does have more power than the normal Forester, I wouldn't say that this is exactly a quick car. It does get off the line reasonably well, and there's decent throttle response initially from those electric motors. But pretty quickly, this thing runs out of steam, and this, frankly, is still just not a particularly quick car. But that doesn't mean it's not a fun car to drive. There's actually surprisingly good feedback through the steering wheel, and the suspension is taut enough to make it feel nice and responsive. And there's plenty of grip too. We did a lot of driving earlier today on some very wet and twisty mountain roads, beautifully cutting through the redwoods here in California. And this thing was just perfectly poised. It got a ton of grip, really comfortable, and honestly, a lot of fun to drive. And you can't say that about a lot of compact SUVs. Now, a big part of that comes down to the all-wheel drive system that Subaru offers here. And this is a different all-wheel drive system than a lot of hybrids have. A lot of hybrids in this class will rely on gasoline power to drive the front wheels and an electric motor out back to drive the rear wheels to give you all-wheel drive. That kind of a setup is always very compromised if you're actually talking about driving in low grip situations. So both on the wet roads and then also we took this thing off-road on some trails. The Forester did remarkably good. That center differential in this thing does a really nice job of making sure that power goes to all four wheels. And it can now even read the steering input, so as I turn the wheel more, it can lock or unlock that differential to send more torque to the back or balance it differently depending upon how I'm driving the car. and also in what drive mode I'm into. I've got a couple of different off-road modes I can toggle through in the Forester here to get a little bit more performance off-road. But even on some pretty serious terrain, the Forester did great. Up steep inclines, down steep declines. It did a really nice job off-road. And so if you've got a pretty tricky driveway, this might be the choice for you. So as much fun as I had off-road and as much as I was enjoying driving this thing through the twisties, most Forester owners, this is going to be used for hauling a couple of kids or a couple of dogs around, driving, commuting, that kind of thing, heading out for adventure, but not necessarily driving super aggressively. And when you're driving more casually, even on really broken roads, the Forester is still very comfortable, very compliant, and just honestly a really nice car to drive. It's got good cargo, good comfort, good features, pretty much everything that you'd want in a compact SUV. And I think the hybrid option is a really good choice, especially given the fact that it's not actually that much more expensive. If you're looking like for like across the Forester lineup, you're going to spend somewhere between $1,400 and $1,500 more to get that hybrid system, and you're not really giving up anything other than money. So you're getting more fuel economy, spending a little bit more, but you're still getting a Forester that drives as well, looks as good, and is as excellent as ever. So absolutely, if you're looking for a Forester today, the hybrid is the one to get.